Welcome on the Bold Topics, and I am Anandmayi DG. Today's story is by Premchandra. Premchandra is relevant even today, and as long as the essence of Indian culture remains alive, the foundation of history will also remain fresh, and discussion about Premchandra will continue as long as there are discussions about the nation, about politics, about society, and about love. Premchand's writing has the power to awaken the human heart. Premchand's stories make a person truly human. Premchand's stories have the power to instill the essence of humanity and awaken the human heart within you for rising above mundane emotions and developing the skills to contribute meaningfully to society and family. Premchand's stories are unparalleled. Mahajani Sahitya is considered his last essay, Sahitya Ka Udesh, his last lecture, Kafan, his last story, Godan, his last complete novel, The Mangal Sutra, his last incomplete novel. Premchandra also went to Mumbai to write a screenplay for films. You will see the state of society reflected in the mirror of Premchand's writing. If you want to understand the society from 1906 to 1935, just read Premchand's writing, and you won't need to visit every house in society. You will see the state of society reflected in the mirror of Premchand's writing. Even today, the behavior of society hasn't changed much. 1980 to 1935 is the Premchand era. To understand the social impact of social reforms movements, the freedom struggle, and progressive movements, Premchand's stories are sufficient. His writing alone is enough to enrich you socially and morally. The era from 1980 to 1935 is called the Premchand era. The beginning of Dalit discourse started with Premchand's works. The way he encompassed every aspect of literature, political, social, and familial in his works, and especially the way the portrayed the common man. A farmer and ordinary people from the Dalit community was an example in itself. The beginning of Dalit discourse in literature perhaps started with Premchand's works, and Manu Bhandari said this about Premchand in a BBC interview. What you live every day, that is literature. What is literature? Many people think that literature is something for amateurs. A person experiences all political, social, and family situations, and literature is made up of all these things: political, social, and family life, which we live every day, are every branch of literature, every perspective of literature. Premchand's literary stance were that he did not confine himself to ideals and ideological journeys, but rather that ideals and ideas completed the journey of reality. Premchand was a realist oriented towards ideals. Premchand was the greatest storyteller of the freedom struggle. From this perspective, he was also a nationalist. Premchand was also a humanist and a Marxist. Progressive ideology was his favorite. From the time of Premchandra, he was attracted to progressive ideology. He addressed the first conference of the Progressive Writers Association as its chairman. This speech of his became the basis of the manifesto of the progressive movement, and in this way, he became the first progressive writer in Hindi. The film based on Premchand's novel became immortal. Healthy literature does not imitate anyone. In an article published in BBC Hindi, Nirmal Verma writes that in the 50th century and 60th century, Renu, Nagarjuna, and later Srinath Singh wrote stories about rural life, which in a way continue the tradition of Premchand. Premchand has been one of the popular literary figures in Hindi cinema. Satyajit Ray made Satranj Khiladi in 1977 and Sadgati in 1981. Subramanyam made a film based on the novel Seva Sadan in 1938 in which Subba Lakshmi played the lead role. In 1977, Mrinal Sen made a Telugu film called Oka Ori Katha based on Premchand's story Kafan, which also received the National Award for Best Telugu Film. Popular films were made based on the novels Godan in 1963 and Gaban in 1966. The TV series Nirmala based on his novel also became very popular in 1980. How did the title Munshi get added to Premchand's name? How did the title Munshi get added to Premchand's name? There's a very interesting story behind it. The editors of Hans magazine were Premchand and Kanhaiyalal Munshi. However, over time, readers mistook Munshi and Premchand as one person, and Premchand became Munshi Premchandra. Premchand's works proved to be the best in the field of sensitivity and progressive thoughts. Premchand घर में Premchandra कलम का सिपाही, कलम का मजदूर. These are the names of the books written on Premchand's entire life, behavior, thoughts and feelings. He wrote under the name Nawab Rai in the Urdu magazine Zamana. Premchand also edited a newspaper called Jagran. He even set up a printing press, but it resulted in a loss for him. Premchand was also a translator, and as a translator, he benefited the public by conveying the ideas of other writers to them. He translated Tolstoy's story 1923, Goldsworthy's Three Plays, Strike 1930, Silver Box 1931, and Justice 1931. His Hindi translation of Ratan Nath Sir Sahar's Urdu novel Fasane-e-Azad, titled Azad Katha, became very famous. These plays are good in terms of dramatic craft and sensitivity. His stories and novel had reached such heights that Premchand did not achieve much success in the field of drama. Although it may not have been profitable from an economic point of view, it has proven to be the best in the field of a person's sensitivity and thoughts. Life is not just about being confined to one's own life. The politics of the country you live in affects you, and the social thinking and system of the society you live in also affect you. Premchand's stories act as a cherry on top for improving the thinking of your society and your politics. They analyze the outline of life in society. After reading which you will realize how many blessings God has bestowed upon you. How did he get the title of Magician of the Pen? Premchand wrote more than 300 stories and more than 80 novels in his life. Because of these abilities, he is called a magician of the pen. When discussing Premchand's literary genius, it's short drawing as a matter of general interest. What his first story was? Premchand's first collection of stories titled Soje Watan was published in June 1908. The first story in this collection in Dunia Ka Sabse Anmol Ratan, the world's most precious, which is considered his first published story. However, according to Dr. Goenka, the story Sanskari Prem or Desh Prem, published in the April issue of the Urdu monthly magazine Zamana from Kanpur, is actually his first published story. It is said that the pen writes with ink, but the words written are the expression of Dutch pens that have given rise to understanding, that have awakened empathy, that have not only witnessed one's own wounds but have also seen the hearts of others being pierced by those same wounds. age does not make a person experienced. It is the flames of fire thrown by nature, the skill to survive them, the experience of that struggle, and the ultimate triumph over it that grants you the skill to live life, and that is what makes you special. Premchand's family life was not very good, nor was his childhood, but one thing he did throughout his life, one thing he loved, was reading books, which in time not only made him famous as a great writer, but also immortalized him in the chain of literature and human development. Dhanpatrai Srivastav, born on July 31, 1880 in Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh, later became Premchand. He was born into a caste family, and his mother Anandmayi passed away when he was 7 years old. Then his father Munshi Ajaib Rai remarried, and then the tragedy of his stepmother began. After this came the authoritarian rule of his father, who arranged his marriage at the age of 15, and Premchand himself writes about the decision. My father stumbled in the last years of his life, and not only did he fail himself, but he also dragged me down with him and got me married without thinking. The behavior of his stepmother, the childhood marriage, the ritual of the priest, the miserable lives of farmers and clerks. Premchand has seen all this by the age of 16. That is why his experiences, imbued with a powerful sense of reality, were reflected in his fictional works. Premchand changed his name 3 times, but why? At the age of 30, he read Tilisme Hoshruba and became acquainted with the novels of famous Urdu writers Ratan Nath, Sarsar, Mirza, Hadi Ruswa, and Maulana Sarar. In 1906, he married Sivrani Devi, a child widow. She was a well-educated woman who wrote summer stories and a book titled Premchand Ghar Mein. They had 3 children, Sripat Rai, Amrit Rai, and Kamla Devi Srivastav. After passing his matriculation examination in 1898, he was appointed as a teacher in a local school. He continued his studies alongside his job. In 1921, during the non-cooperation movement following Mahatma Gandhi's call to leave government jobs, he resigned from his post as a school inspector on June 23. After this, he made writing his profession. He worked as an editor for magazines like Maryada and Madhuri. Premchand did not find the film industry appealing. He couldn't even complete his 1-year contract and returned to Banaras after leaving 2 months' salary. Premchand's literary career began in 1901. Initially, he wrote in Urdu under the name Nawab Rai. In 1908, his first collection of short stories, Soje Watan, was published. This collection, imbued with patriotic fervor, was banned by the British government, and all its copies were confiscated. The author Nawab Rai was warned against writing in the future. This led him to change his name to Premchand. This name was given to him by Dayanarayan Nigam. His first story under the name Premchand, Bade Ghar Ki Beti, daughter of published in the December 1910 issue of the magazine Zamana. What is your opinion on Premchand and this video? Like, comment and subscribe to the channel. Very thanks.